Kurtz. That's the American.
Welcome to Warrior Park for season 2019, the season opening game here between the Olympia FC Warriors and South Hobart. With some wonderful Greek tunes cranking out here around the ground, real Greek type vibes. A lovely evening for football. It's Tasmania in March and it's 8 PM at night, but it's 26 degrees out there. This is going to be a comfortable evening for the players first up, and I hope they have done a good solid pre-season. They're going to need it. My name is Andrew Cooling. Joining me to call the action here this evening in this big season opener is Paul Hunt and Jake Morgan. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Andrew Cooling. It's a pleasure to be here as always. Season 19 kickoff. A good crowd building here at Warrior Park. I hit the reserve car park, which I only ever hit on big games here at Warrior Park. So there's a few people around here tonight, and as you say, it has been an absolute scorcher here today. And after that, there's the dulcet tones of George Mamarcus, president of Olympia FC Warriors, blares out over Warrior Park. And you know, when he's in shirt and thongs out there, it's a pretty heavy evening here tonight. And what are you expecting tonight, Cooley?
I'm expecting a very competitive game of football. Of course, our only game of the round with tomorrow's triple header called off, so I'm expecting two teams who will spy a chance to sit 3 points clear of the rest of the competition for a good week, and two teams desperate to get off to a good start. But I think more so Olympia. I mean, the streak of head-to-head matchups with South Hobart. It's now 12 games they've gone without getting a win over South Hobart, which is absolutely incredible. We've got to go back to round one of the first round of fixtures in 2015 under Glenn McNeil for the last time Olympia were able to beat South Hobart. It's been absolute domination since then. They need to get the monkey off their back, and with the South Hobart team with a few injuries tonight here at Warrior Park, you just feel they need this more than South for one.
Well, Andrew Cooling, we could just pay attention to that injury list for a little bit, because how many players do South Hobart have missing tonight? Upwards of 6, you say, including a fair few from the starting lineup?
Yeah, probably I'd say 4 first teamers in there. You've got Foley, Loic Farrell, who's been fit enough for the bench. Oscar Thomas is on the bench too, been battling some injuries. But who else? Darcy Hall's out injured. You've got Ben Hamlet out injured. There's just
Connor Schmidt from pre-season as well with the broken leg.
Well, his season's done, and that's a big blow, Connor Schmidt with the broken leg. So they've got good depth, South Hobart, but it's set to be tested this evening, that's for sure. They're going to have to call upon it, and this is a great opportunity for Olympia, who've been, I guess, the form side of the pre-season. They've looked probably the best out of the teams that I've seen.
Well, there certainly have been things moving at Warrior Park over the summer, haven't there, Andrew, with a couple of big signings that we might get a chance to look at this evening, in particular for the Warriors. We're looking at a man up top.
Yeah, Jack Ryan, he's been the talk of the pre-season, that's for sure. He's really been banging in the goals for fun. And if he can keep up that form, they've got a potential Golden Boot winner on their hands, I think. Olympia has been much talked about, Jack Ryan, and we'll have our first look at him this evening, but he's key.
Quite interesting, because I've heard one respected pundit, who I won't name around the parts, suggest that this player could even be better than Jacob Sklenage, the player who was unearthed by the Olympia Warriors before eventually moving across to the Hobart Zebras. But we saw that player win 2 league top scorers in a row during his 2 years in Tasmania, and this could be the man for the Warriors to take up that mantle.
I certainly think so. I think the other player for Olympia to look out for is Joffrey Nkoso, last year's Rising Star winner on awards night. He had a great season last year, and he's probably looking to add a few more goals to his resume. He had plenty of pace down the wing and really got into promising areas, and he's sort of in that late teenage years where once you work on that finishing, you can be a potent force up front. My key in for Olympia while we're on their team, I think it's goalkeeper Cole McDonald, come across from WA. Well, he played for Perth Glory's NPL and Youth League sides there for a while, so he comes with a very good pedigree. I admittedly haven't seen a huge amount of him.
If I'm not mistaken too, I think you mentioned earlier, Andrew, that he was also signed to another rather large club over in England.
Yeah, Burnley.
That's where he was before.
Academy. He's had some time over there. Originally from Perth, went over there, and he's come back and he's looking to really springboard his career here.
They have some marvellous pedigree with producing goalkeepers at the moment too, don't they, Burnley, with Nick Pope that we've seen emerge in the Premier League, as well as Tom Heaton. So certainly going to be
my Man United fan. We did plenty for Tom Heaton's career other than sit him on the bench for 4 years.
But it will be interesting to have a look at Cole, see how he goes. And another big in for the Warriors, I think, is finally wonderful to see Nick Mearns, one of the best ball-playing midfielders in the state, out there looking fit and ready to go for the Warriors. And having discussed all that, looking forward to this match getting on the way, boys. I think we'll have to have a little look at a couple of predictions for tonight, and I have to say I think it will be the first time since 2015 that the Warriors are going to get that monkey off their back, and I think they'll be coming in with a 3-1 win on a traditionally high-scoring, smaller ground over here at Warrior Park.
Yes, we'll just grab the Olympia team before I give the prediction. In goals, you've got McDonald, you've got Lucas Hill, Paul Stevens, Jake Van der May, new player in there, Kurt, I think might line up at fullback. We'll wait and see on him. And then you've got Scott, one of their Englishmen. They've got a pair of Englishmen in this team. John O'Ladich comes across from Glenorchy Knights. He'll be in midfield with the business Mark Altman and Nick Mearns, you'd imagine. And then up top, a pretty dynamic attacking duo there of Jack Ryan and Joffrey Nkoso. On the bench, you've got Brayton Allen, Jacob Lehman, Darby Randall, Thompson and Samet rounding out there. So a pretty youthful looking bench for Olympia, but it's an experienced starting 11, that's for sure.
It certainly is. I mean, there's still plenty of NPL experience in those youngsters on the bench. Eventually they won't become youngsters, the likes of Brayton Allen and Lehman and Samet. We've seen, especially last season, come off the bench with good regularity. And again, pretty good, solid, well-built defence from Olympia. We found last year they were caught out on a lot of the bigger grounds in the state, but here at Warrior Park they were really able to make it really compact, and Stevens, Van der May and Hill certainly take some getting through both in open play and in set pieces.
So the South Hobart team, and your names on the bench there this evening for them. Oscar Thomas is one of those, Luke Farrell the other one. Not sure how fit the pair of those two are. Thomas I think probably slightly closer to action than Farrell, but he's on the pine, and that means we're guessing it might be a back three rolled out tonight by South Hobart. Just looking at the names, we'll have to see, but they've got Kieran Brown obviously in goals, Jack Bowman the archer as the centre half, as is Rasmus Philipson, the young Danish centre half, and then Hugh Ludford also in there, who's the third centre back. So unless one's playing out of position, I think maybe a back three with Havainen and Gorry as the wing backs.
Yeah, it's a really tough one, that one, I think, to decide what will happen, but yeah, perhaps just one of those three centre-backs that we mentioned there earlier could be playing out of position at left-back today, so that'll be one to watch with how South Hobart line up with their shape, but I just think tactically on this ground that three at the back could be a pretty solid idea because it could keep things very compact, as Paul just touched on earlier.
Yeah, we've seen teams roll it out before. The rest of that South Hobart line-up, Nick Morton, Gilly de Souza, Jack Turner. That's a really dangerous midfield there. Jack Turner, I don't think, has been sighted pre-season, but just lock him into the starting lineup. He'll do a job. Ken Morton trusts him, and why not? The man has just delivered in spades over the past couple of years since moving there. Alex Walter and Alex Lazinski rounding out the lineup, and a very trim-looking Alex Lazinski, it must be said. He has a shocking time that really tonight, in many ways, about two players on the comeback in Mearns and Lazinski. Neither have really been able to get out on the pitch over the past couple of years, and both are amongst the best players in the competition when they're able to do so.
Yeah, big slice of cheese favourite is Albie Lazinski. He'll be hoping to get on the goal scorers sheet tonight as we have a look. Both teams actually with new kits this season as well. I'm not minding the Olympia Warriors one. It's nice and clean cut, and then you've got the very high 1910 on South Hobart, which I assure you isn't some sponsorship for anything in particular. It's just the year of their foundation.
Doesn't the keeper kit look handsome?
It does. It does.
You've got to give them a bit of credit there for the uniforms every now and then. But
it does look a bit sort of trendy menswear, sort of department store-esque. I think Kieran Brown's rocking this year. I've
got to give the committees for both teams credit this year because I think both their kits are looking marvellous and just shows the continuing professionalism of the league that grows and grows in Tasmania.
Yeah, looking very dapper out there, and we're not too far away. Kickoff just moments away here at Warrior Park. We've already heard your prediction.
I was going to say, you cowards, you try and get away without putting one out. I'm not having that. 3-1 to the Warriors tonight for me.
Which you heard me say half an hour ago.
Sorry, 3-2.
Oh, he's now changed it. Well, there we go. So 3-2, 3-1. We're on the Warriors. Perhaps very surprising, given 12 in a row they've been unable to get out of South Hobart. Paul, what say you?
I'm just going to say something different, just to be like that. I'm going to go 2-all.
2-all, the draw.
As you can tell, I was really convincing with that argument. I just think the game's going to be a draw, but I think Olympia have enough in them to score 2 goals.
From you, Church Mouse.
We're now just scouring the
Shawnee
room for
McManus,
prediction.
our Mercury reporter, just offering us a little prediction here.
4-2 Olympia he
Oh,
goes.
he's backed us in there. I like that from Shawnee.
Must commend him on his season preview. Very sharp work from Shawnee there. So he's got the Warriors. So a few of us going Olympia's way tonight, and they'll really be looking to turn at the tables. But South Hobart met Olympia in the season opener here a couple of years ago. There was a similar hype around Olympia's pre-season that year, and they walked away 3-0 victors, South Hobart. Kobe Kemp with a scorching free kick and a real burst in the second half turned the game on its head. So we'll wait and see. Our match officials for this evening, Josh McInerney will take the middle here. Fourth official, Tony Purton. It's the young dream team, if you will, the young referees out here tonight. Nathan Code and James Hamilton will be on the line. So McInerney with the big game today. I believe it was initially going to be Pert. As George Marcus in fine voice, he's just booming out his cash
I think the last thing that he said was there, may the best team win and be your Olympia Warriors. So good on George there for just showing his partisanship.
Oh, he's a traditional line. May the best team win and may that team be the Warriors. He's been running with that for a couple of years. And
I like it.
I do like it, but it's time for the talk to stop. We're underway in season 2019. The Englishman will launch a long diagonal forward to get things started here. South Hobart and Olympia on the small pitch here at Warrior Park. It's Olympia doing the early attacking. Looks like Vandermeer has been the one of those centre halves into the fullback spot, which will present a dangerous matchup against that man. Gorry got clattered into after he got rid of it. Referee paid an advantage. Lazinski says, nah, we'll take the free kick instead.
Yeah, good decision there, I think, from Albany. A wonderful searching ball from D'Souza. Can't quite get it under his spell. Does Alex Walter, but he does have that in his locker. Does Gilly D'Souza. Saw him briefly at Kingborough last season and jetted off midway through, but good to see him back. As the ball now pings around the park, it's Morton. Back to the new Danish import, Erasmus Philipson. Out to Gorry. Gorry to the archer, Jack Bowman. Launches a searching ball down the line, but to no avail, and it does look like South, I'd say South are running with that three at the back and two wing-backs by the look at it, Jake.
Yeah, they certainly are. Looks like they've pushed Bowman across to right centre-back. I suspected, which I was probably going to be completely wrong about, that he might have been the one to line up at left-back, given that he was a bit more mobile. But no, we've got Havainen over there, just guarding the run of Nkoso here and guarding well. So it looks like South are just going to go for a little bit of solidity here in the opening game of the season.
And I think we'll see the right-hand flank being Adam Gorry's domain. Look at the way they all push out to this near side of the pitch. They leave that space free. They love to hit those switching balls to Gorry. And with three at the back today, he's got plenty of coverage to just bomb on. But it's the Warriors on the attack, searching for the number 9, Jack Ryan. The savvy veteran Hugh Ludford, the old warhorse, getting that one away from him. Going around again, his great defensive partner, Dan Brown, has turned to coaching, but Ludford's still out there as this one's repelled by D'Souza. The Vainen's going to need to stretch, and he won't quite get there. So Warriors with another chance to throw into the box, and it's a stone's throw away from here. Imagine they'll be able to get some decent penetration. They launch it in the right direction. Flick on was clever. Altman not quite able to get there. Away by Philipson. Gorry to D'Souza. Worked back, and that won't trouble round whatsoever.
Jordan Scott there with, I think he was looking for a through ball, but did overhit that slightly, and it is really obvious they're giving Adam Gorry the width of the right-hand side, and now he's being played a searching ball in. Doesn't know if do it come out. Keeper, the Mountain, Lucas Hill, sticks the leg out and clears that one well.
Almost shades of how Juventus were setting up at times when Dani Alves was playing over there, just really with that right wing back in a back five, really pushing on to almost force the other side into really make it into a back four at times when they have the ball, and Havainen having to stay very deep.
Very much the case as Gorry again manages to keep that one in, cleared by Vandermeer over the bank. Let's hope we've got a few ball boys in attendance here tonight.
That's what we need to put them, that bank.
Yep.
Fair workout.
I wasn't advocating putting them on the highway, if that's what you were wondering. It's a throw-in taken by Bowman to Lazinski. Back to Bowman, tries to find Gorry. Last touch off an Olympia player. It'll stay with South Hobart. Albie holds the ball up well. It's Bowman to D'Souza. Overhits him, but it'll fall for the warhorse Hugh Ludford. Searching ball looking for Havainen. Well cleared. Turner pressuring in the middle of the park against Ortman. Calls for a corner and it is given, so good harassment there from Jack Turner, who, whilst he's the cork in the ocean who bobs up in the box, he bobs up in this South Hobart team, has not been cited in pre-season action.
Well, Kingborough trying to lure him back down the den, I know that much, but I think training commitment's a bit tough at times with his job, Jack Turner, but parachuted him into the starting lineup here, and look, his record's been incredible over the last couple of years as Ryan leads the breakout and puts it into the path of the pacey in Koso. Havainen showing good wheels to stick with him, but De Souza comes flying in. I reckon he played that off of Nkoso. If he didn't, he certainly convinced the ref he did, and he gets the decision, but good work there from Toby Havainen, because in a one-on-one foot race with Joffrey and Koso, that's at South one, as Walter flicks this one in the Lazinski direction. Watch Lucas Hill tail him everywhere tonight, I reckon.
There's not many people in Tasmania who have the height advantage over Albie Lazinski, and Lucas the Mountain Hill is one of them, so that will be an interesting matchup.
Well, he won't have the breadth advantage, that's for sure, because Albie Lazinski has a very solid set of shoulders, so it's going to be a very interesting battle between the two of them, and probably the one I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'm curious to see. They don't use Jack Ryan a whole lot here as that one goes towards the back post, and now here he is on cue. Jack Ryan getting space in the box. Not quite the connection on it he wanted, did the Englishman, and Kieran Brown comfortably claims that one, but he's getting in wrong side of Hugh Ludford there for a while. Was Jack Ryan, former youth player out at Preston North End, so another Lancashire connection here in tonight's NPL game. So that one's well dealt with on the far side. Havainen gets it away from Nkoso. Olympia get the throw in front of the bench, and once again Dogger Brown very vocal on the sidelines there. We saw that in the pre-season game last week. He barely sat down for the whole 90, did Dogger Brown. Here comes Ryan trying to get around Ludford. De Souza coming across, but Warhorse does enough and concedes the corner. Olympia's first of the game. It looks like their other import Englishman Jordan Scott is going to be on set piece duty.
And it's going to be interesting to have a look at these set pieces, because there is a lot of tall timber on the field out there today, which probably not typical, at least from what I've seen from these teams in a while now. The corner's taken short. Comes back out. Great ball in. Oh, what an incredible save on the line there. That is just marvellous there from Brown to get South Hobart out of trouble. Jeez, how do you miss it, boys? How do you miss it?
Schmeichel-esque from Kieran Brown there, but I'm not sure how Nkoso's missed that from so close on goal.
I don't
he was
know Brown
a
knew
metre
that much
away.
about it, to be honest.
I think he just
bullet header right at him.
He just made his body as big as possible, and it just happens to hit his hip from Nkoso from point blank range. Jeez, that was very, very strong. There's now Morton, loose touch. Scott gets in the way. Advantage paid from Josh McInerney. Ludford intercepts that one in front of Ryan.
Just love to have a replay of that save in a minute. I almost want the ball to go out of play for a second. We see now Morthog getting up there and competing. Havainen coming in with the hill. Comes now to Gilly Souza, but the whistle has been blown for a foul there for the referee, but I didn't quite see what it was.
It was on Hill, and Hill played the pass. Didn't see there was a huge opening, and then turned the ref and said, "Can I have the foul, please?" But not quite as polite as that.
Yeah, right. Referee obliging.
Replay on that one in a second there, Ash. Koso header. We're working on it. Just getting a few kinks out of the system early in the year, but a great chance for the Warriors there as this one swung to the back post. Kurtz nods it back in the Ryan direction. He's a powerful frame. Phillipson worked him under it, then left the ball behind. Chance for a cross, and Koso and Ryan in the middle. It was a poor cross though, straight to the Morthog, who just pulls the trigger and knocks it forward. Perhaps expecting Lazinski there. He wasn't at home though. And it's worked back to Scott in the midfield. Stevens partnering the Mountain at the back, and he bullets this one out to the wing. Bowman able to intercept. Morton with the first time pass to Walton. Lovely one-touch football there, but control from Jack Turner. And Adam Gorry playing the role of a striker there all of a sudden. He really is playing up top today. He's Gorry.
They've gone to four at the back, South Hobart. Sorry about that calling. They've seemed to have gone to the back. Gorry's now on the left. Alex Walter's gone out to kind of right midfield. They've really changed it up. Potentially that's what Dogger Brown was yelling out earlier.
Yeah, a little bit of that. I think maybe Gorry's just starting as a natural right winger and they've flipped the flanks with Alex Walter there, who's now occupying that spot on the right. But They haven't done a whole lot of attacking early on here at South Hobart. It's been Olympia who've been doing the bulk of it through the first 8.5 minutes here.
Olympia not really keen on committing too many men forward. They've got only 4 forward from this set-piece opportunity as the ball goes towards the middle there. And Alex Walter probably should have got a shout from his keeper there. Ryan comes in, no one there, off the post. Brown again, the header straight at him, but deflects it onto the bar this time. Albie Lazinski to Stevens, and now it goes all the way back to Cole McDonald. We'll have to get rid of this first time, does it well. Launches it high into the night sky. Phillipson, not quite sure if you want to go for that. It's now on Koso. Looking for some willing runners. Finds one on the far side, and eventually Phillipson whacks that clear. But again, another gilt-edge chance for the Warriors.
The header down there from, I think it was Mearns even, was just marvellous to Nkoso to keep that Warriors attack going there. I'm pretty impressed with him so far. Typically making the ball move about the pitch and tick. Great speed of play here now. Ortman, it's got Ryan moving into the channel on the right. Goes that way, just takes a poor touch. Allows it to run. Barge there a little bit by Havainen. South Hobart, I think, have won the throw.
Have a look at this chance here for the Warriors. They've had a couple now. This one swung back in. That's the first one. The Brown shifting across. Goso puts it right into his waist, but great piece of goalkeeping all the same. Phillipson skewing it up in the air. Comes Ryan. He's a powerful figure in the air is Jack Ryan. And he tells the Dane to get up. He's not having any of this going down softly, but there's a figure the size about Jack Ryan. I'm not sure I'd want him clattering into me, to be honest.
Because he goes in 100%, doesn't he, Andrew Cooley?
Yeah, we might try and get that second chance. The replay, second save Brown made while there's a brief stoppage here, and we'll have a look at this one. This one straight up in the air from Walter, causing the initial problem, and Ryan did well to get that much power on it, really, I think, fellas.
Yeah, not a lot of communication there from South Hobart. Alex Walter could have let that out for a goal kick. It was inside the 6-yard box. Kieran Brown could have had it. And then someone needed to go for the second header as well. So a little bit at sea at the back at the moment, South Hobart. But they will put McDonald under pressure through Turner. And he clears it down the infamous Olympia bank. There's enough people down there. Surely we can get someone to get a little quicker. There's Bowman moving forward from his centre-back position to take the throw. 2 gilt-edge chances for Olympia so far. And probably worthy favourites going into the match based on the early stages.
It's some amusement up here in the box with the label favourites. I'm not sure you checked out the markets on that one, Paul, but going to be crossed in here by Bowman as he tries to get him behind. But the Warriors outsiders, they're playing anything but like outsiders thus far. Drop down to Toby Havainen. Havainen is clattered into there by Nkoso, won the ball. It'll be a throw in South Hobart's way.
Favourites according to the commentary box team anyway.
Well, we're the people that know what they're talking about, I think.
As we go back to live play, De Souza gets it past Nkoso. He could have played him in there now. It's Mearns getting in front of Ludford. Calls for offside.
Flags up.
In the end.
He looks good, doesn't he?
Very just pulling off the last defender. There was Ryan. There wasn't a whole lot in it, but I did think he might have gone a tad early. There, the English marksman. South Hobart under significant pressure early on in the match.
He looks a good mix of pace, skill and strength, doesn't he, Ryan? At the top of the line. Looks fairly good in the air.
Yeah, we've seen him certainly work South Hobart's 2 centre-backs so far. So it's a lovely ball down the line to Gorry, who is now offside. Seen Ortman moving out to a right-back position. We saw him a little bit there in 2017, but very much in 2018 held a defensive midfield position. Very versatile player is the business.
Yeah, he's often asked to do a job for Olympia in the flanks, and usually he does it pretty well, but perhaps lacking a little bit of the speed that a modern wing-back does possess. But he's very comfortable on the ball and very technically gifted. The pressure here now for South Hobart, forcing the big Cole into the bomb downfield. D'Souza now giving Ortman a bit of company, but intercepted well here by Morton. And Gorry's gotten himself into a great spot now, but the flag is up. And it's rightly called by Andrew Calling on the far side there. Probably did just sneak a few metres offside there. Didn't look very close at all.
Yeah, rightly killed by the former mullet of infallibility over there, Nathan Coe, running the line tonight, lacking the distinguishing mullet, but spotting there with a sharp flag work there from Cody.
It's a damn shame that'd be, geez, well halfway down his back by these days, and it'd be glinting in the lights of this ground.
Long ball, again Ryan is the focal point up top. It falls through to Phillipson, who just smashes it Route 1 style up in the Lucas Hill direction. Pass there from Kurtz to get to the ball, and he works it down the line cleverly to Nkoso. Nkoso one way then the other, left the ball behind, sliding it through looking for Mearns. Well done Toby Havain, and showing his intelligence there. So good with his positioning, this young defender, and now he launches the attack, trying to pick out Walter McDonald. Alert to the danger, comes off his line. Clears it as far as the Englishman, who's working it towards his compatriot Ryan, who was frustrated by that one.
Oh,
just good body work, I thought.
Oh,
outrage in the Slice of Cheese commentary box. I can't particularly see what's wrong with that.
yeah, look, I'm a South Hobart fan and I was outraged at that.
Look at that shot. Beautiful sights here, Mount Wellington in the background.
You've got to say, the Eastern Shore, the sun may have gone down, but it's still sunny over here. Most glorious place in the world.
Only 27 degrees here in Hobart in March. Incredible, of course, causing a few problems with tomorrow's fixtures. The triple header called off, but just making tonight all the bigger. And it's been a very promising start here from the Warriors so far. The South Hobart team right under pressure. De Souza has his pocket picked, and in the end, an infringement spotted there. And the Warriors look to get things moving quickly, perhaps through Scott. Might send the cavalry forwards.
Good hustle from John O'Ladich there, covering plenty of territory in the middle of the park as the former Vic Shooting winner, and now he's on the ball again with Scott, but turned over to De Souza. Now it's Jack Turner. Him and Walter trying to work out who'll play the ball, and does well. Does Alex Walter, tries to find Lazinski, who certainly has the height advantage over the business. Then Koso, now to Mearns, he can pick out a pass here if Ryan stays onside. Bowman does just enough in front of Kurtz and then lays it out to Alex Walter. Getting on the ball a tad more since he switched sides as Walter. It's now the Archer into Turner. Now Walter had the option of Gorry short. Turned over. Now Mearns is go clattering in the back.
Yeah, we'll play that
Bowman,
one.
and I think there's, again, consensus here that was a foul.
Yeah, that one absolutely correctly called by the referee. It's been really, really interesting so far, isn't it? Just how good this Olympia midfield is looking. Just early on here, I've been really impressed with Mearns' return. John O'Ladich has slotted in well. New Englishman doing a brilliant job at the base of the midfield there. Just really, really starting to control stuff against the team that's probably had the midfield that's dominated the league for the last 3 years or so.
Yeah, I think that's probably a fair shout. About plenty of strength in midfield, but it's been a one-way battle thus far as this one's chipped in the Kurtz direction. Bowman flicked that on, so it'll be a corner ball for the Warriors. Another chance to cross one in. I do think they need to get a goal whilst they're in the ascendancy here, though. We've seen it so many times, particularly in this fixture. Olympia having good spells, leaving the door ajar, and if there's a team that more than anyone else does their best work late on in matches, it's tended to be South Hobart, so need to make this count. Scott is across here. The threat from corners already. Plenty of tall timber to pick out as he swings this one into the middle of the box. Brown comes, got a fist on it, didn't convincingly clear it, and then it deflects off the shoulder of Gorry.
The other thing that's really getting me about this is that Scott is looking like a better dead ball taker than Mearns, and in the time that I've watched the NPL, I have scarcely seen a better dead ball taker than Mearns, other than that fella Downs who was playing for the Hobart Zebras for a season or two. This is pretty extraordinary.
Jesse Downs back at the den this year, but you're right, it's been impressive delivery here so far. When you've got Hill and Vandermeer and Ryan and Stevens, plenty to pick out. There's Lucas Hill. Defence though from Alex Walter, who's stepping in front of him at the winger.
All 11 players in the box there for South as well, as that one goes back to Ladich. Now Stevens manages to find Nkoso, heavy touch. It's cleared by Havainen. Morton immediately pressured by two. Good little nutmeg there on the mountain. No advantage paid from McInerney. Turner, the foul will relieve some pressure on South Hobart, but they have been under the cosh for the majority of this game.
Got to say that has been the case, Paul. See Gilly D'Souza now looking to get things started for South Hobart, but
Good choice of boots on Gilly as well. Very easy to spot in the night sky. It's always a winner from up here.
loud wheels, and I do know you love your footwear. Secretly wonder if you take a bit of sponsorship from Nike to try and spread a bit of juice about them.
On Asuka's all the way, mate. There's Nike nonsense.
Hipster.
Far too mainstream for Paul. Do you even know the man?
You met me.
Appalling hipster. We've got Cole McDonald now getting ready to get things going before we end up too off topic, as we often do.
Bit early in the season for all that, as McDonald, who's not been tested thus far, sends this one to the wing in the direction of Ryan again. Again, it's Alex Walter competing really well defensively in the air for his side, though, doing a lot of work back in defence. Nick Mearns seizes upon this, tries to thread the eye of the needle and Spring and Koso, but Levainen doing a pretty good job tracking him so far.
Yeah, I haven't seen a huge amount from Joffrey, the king of the handles so far this game. But here he is now on the ball. He's got a free player at the back post. Nearly chipped the keeper, Joffrey and Koso. Not sure if that was a deliberate attempt or not, but he wasn't terribly far off there, Joffrey.
No, he was on the cross there, I think, Joffrey and Koso, but that is not what you'd say if that had gone top corner, is it?
It's a goal of the year contender if it stays in top corner. Brown was concerned, but even more concerned was the fact that Kurtz had just peeled off there unmarked at the back post. Couldn't quite reach it, but another almost moment in attack for the Warriors. It's South Hobart needing just to find something to stem the tide at the moment, as Ladich is absolutely bossing the midfield, works it back to Vandermeer. Now Paul Stevens, he'd like to have that one again, I think, as he skews that one straight out of play. No win factor to blame for that.
Yeah, just on Jono Ladich. He's had a few years away from the NPL, but he has not missed a beat so far in the opening 20-odd minutes of this match, as that one sent down the line in the Walter direction, cleared by the Mountain. A lovely little flick on in the Mearns direction, and Mearns plays through. Ryan just gets a slight heavy touch. Player over at the back post. Aims to keep it in, does Ryan. Assesses the situation and eventually cleared by the Archer. Lovely footwork from Nkoso. And unfortunately, a bit of a scuff shot, and Kieran Brown runs out in front of Kurtz, but another promising display there, particularly from Jack Ryan.
Slightly heavy touch that time from the Englishman. It was a perfect run, but just a little bit heavy. Took him too wide. It's a clever ball back across the face, though. South Hobart under siege at the moment. Can they get something going through the Archer here? It's Jack Bowman. Down to the Brazilian De Souza. To Alex Walter. Winning it easy was Altman, and then winning it back was Mearns, who'll get a chance to try and generate something in attack. Well shut down, though. Turner gets back on it, decides to have a little run at the defence here, Jack Turner. Nick Morton, been quiet so far. Scott really doing a mountain of work in midfield for the Warriors. It's eased forward, but there's nobody there at all. That's going to be an attack that just peters out, so a little bit rattled right now, South.
Yeah, we saw in the pre-season game against the Knights, they had the majority of possession but couldn't score it. And in this one, they're just hanging on for dear life. As look at the pace of both Nkoso and Ryan Ludford, shielding his body well. I think he's won the free kick there, the old warhorse. That is experience personified.
Rightly flagged there by the linesman, just for a grab over the shoulder there from Jack Ryan on Hugh Ludford. And he'll be getting things going, I think, with the free kick. They don't appear to be quite on the same wavelength as each other up top at the moment, do they, this South Hobart lineup? They'll be looking a little isolated up top. Not playing at times quite as high up the pitch as I'd like him to see, but he's going to link up well there. Uses his strength well, spreads the play out wide. Bowman now. Plays it in short to Gorry, playing in that more advanced role, but he loses out. The Warriors are going to get things going through Mearns.
The free kick brought back there for a
late foul.
Contact.
Yeah, a bit of a late foul there from Bowman, just getting a bit of a chat to by the referee, just letting him know that that's not on. Didn't quite catch the last bit of that contact, but didn't seem too happy about it.
A bit of afters there, but perhaps the worst result for South Hobart. They can roll everyone back in defence and reset, and you're right, they've just struggled to get their foot on the ball here and kind of build the way they used to, just kind of lumping it forwards, and really retaining possession right now. Nick Mearns gives chase to this one. Did he play it off to Sousa? Yes, he did. Nick Mearns, and he'll take the throw in. You can see him just getting back to speed here in the NPL Tasmania. Long time. It's first half of 2016 was the last time he was really fit, and if he had stayed fit that year, he would have won the Mitsubishi medal. He was absolutely dominant through the first 8 or 9 rounds, but that's all he got in as Lazinski up against Ortman. Bit of a mismatch in the frames there. Lazinski just holding him off like he's swatting a fly, but didn't have a lot of options, Big Alvy. Eventually that one is cut off by Kurtz on the wing. The throw in to be taken by the archer.
Geez, I don't know if that would have been the metaphor I would have been going for. It looked more like a man holding off a ferocious kitten there. He was just vastly more powerful there than Ortman. And that's going to be the kind of quality that Albie Lazinski brings to your team, an immovable object. Just like to see him getting on the ball a little bit closer to goal than we've seen early on in this match, but largely due to the ascendancy of Olympia in midfield. Ludford now belts it forward, a bit of an unconventional play at that from Scott, I think it was.
Jordan Scott just brought down, and he's I think on the floor at the moment, the Englishman.
Maybe just a little stray elbow or something in there, perhaps.
Impressed with his first 25 minutes, I must say. He puts himself about the pitch, and you've touched on his set-piece ability. A very handy pickup. Of course, the midfield reinforcements means that this man here, the mountain Lucas Hill, can play where he's at his best, and that's centre back. Really be a dominant player as he launches that one onto the head of Ryan. A rehearsed move there, but
it's always a tough question when you've got a player as good as Lucas Hill, isn't it? Because he can play pretty much anywhere up the spine of the ground in a game of football, but at the same time he probably is best at his centre back. But then the question becomes, where is his best position for the team? But now we see Mordhog, and looks like he was getting away up the byline here before a good challenge from that man, the mountain, Lucas Hill. You see South Hobart combining. Can he turn here? Oh, potential little shout there, I thought, for Albie. Just looked like he copped a little bit of a kick to the knee there, but he's never the sort of fella to go down looking for a cheap one, is he?
You're always the one trying to win him a cheap one, that's for sure. And this one's chipped over towards Alex Walter. Won't quite track this one down.
I don't even think the South Hobart bench were even looking for that one.
Well, I was on Albie Watch.
The Albie Lazinski fan club up here in the commentary box was sensing an opportunity, I think.
You never see target men at this level. I love a good target man, I can't deny it.
And he's certainly very adept at that, bringing it down, playing those diagonal balls. He's part of the attack, and so far it hasn't quite clicked for South Hobart in the offensive third. De Sousa up against Mearns, came off the back of Mearns. They'll go again, this time De Sousa decisively. Turner sliding it through there, and he quite find Morton. And the throw in. They work their way down the left wing.
De Sousa decisively, that was a bit of lyrical butter there from you, Andrew Cooling, I have to say.
And take it as the attack continues through Jack Bowman. Oh, he's gifted that one straight away, and they might be vulnerable at the back. Some real breakout happening here. Slides into Ladich. It was a poor ball. He was stretching to get his foot to it, Jono Ladich, and just killed the moment in attack there. Vandermeer might be best off retreating to his keeper. Instead, he butchers it to Jack Turner. And McDonald will be able to get to it, but a shaky moment at the back there, and a rare shaky moment for Olympia thus far.
Well, he was certainly faster out of the back there than their food is there, McDonald. So some good stuff there for the goalkeeper. Pumps it up the line now, and he's got, a free kick given away pretty obviously there by the new English recruit to Ludford. Looks as though De Sousa will be getting things going again. It's been really interesting watching Gorry tonight, isn't it? This has really been a free roll for the lad at times.
Yeah, it's rare you see a nominal right wing back get a pretty much free rein to run wherever he wants. There's that significant pressure when Koso on Ludford. Kieran Brown will eventually heave that one into the sky, but he seems to be going wherever he wants, Gorry.
I think Ludford was pretty right there to be questioning why he didn't get a free kick from that one, because he was all over his back there was Joffrey and Koso, but magnificent upper lip of Hugh Ludford wasn't too impressed with that. South get things going up the byline once again. Nick Morton competing there with Lucas Hill, who rides the challenge very well, gets fouled and then goes on a jaunty little run. He gets it to Mearns. Mearns gets it back to Hill. They've got an overlap on here on the other side. John O'Ladich now finds Kurtz. It's got Bowman for company. There's a couple in the middle here, but the cross just had too much sting on it.
Jack Ryan trying to salvage a corner there. In the
Great move, wasn't it?
All started by Lucas Hill, who just charged out of defence. Just ran straight at that South Hobart midfield and drove the play nicely, jumped up into the attack, and that's what he can do. Lucas Hill, the mountain, and Canerney will ask this one to be taken again by Kieran Brown.
We were talking before about what is his best position, and I will agree with you, it is probably centre-back, but when the centre-back, a bit more of that libero persona, one who can just charge forward when necessary. And I think that is what he's best at, Lucas Hill, and then hoping someone comes to cover him as Gorry hits the wrong side of Scott for the moment. Albie and Morton in the box, but plays it off Paul Stevens to earn the throw-in.
Seems better with his feet than a lot of the modern centre-backs too. Old Lucas Hill, wonderful dribbling skills. See if he can hold them out here now though, because South bustle through before. Geez, a shot from Turner is just really hacked wildly at and ends up 10 metres over the top of the goals.
Oh, this close to getting on our first highway ball of NPL Taz season in 2019.
Sharp bit of acceleration, mind you. That's perhaps something we've noted Jack Turner for, picking the ball up and running at defence. He's normally the player who just bobs up in the area. It's a wrestling match, a very powerful player.
The cork in the ocean, some have called him.
It's the nickname of Jack Turner, but charging through the defence there and getting the shot off, but no direction, unfortunately, as DeSouth has been good in the air tonight. Lazinski flicks that one on, no one making the run for him, and McDonald easily gather ahead of Morton. Half an hour past in this season opening fixture. We're locked at 0-0. Olympia will feel they should be ahead. They've had a couple of great opportunities that they've squandered. Kieran Brown with a spectacular save on one of them, but still should have been buried by Nkoso. It's been a pretty convincing first 30 minutes from the Warriors, but without a goal to show for it, be a little bit of concern, especially given their head-to-head record with South Hobart over the past few years. That was nicely done there to work it to Mearns. He's up against Turner. What a cracking battle that is. And Mearns will take the points this time.
I think after half an hour, South Hobart will be not happy with the 0-0, but they'll feel like it's better than probably what is deserved here. Olympia should probably have a goal by now, and I think if it stays this way till half-time, Coach Ken Morton will be pretty content as they go into the sheds. As we'll see, Scott over the dead ball. Launches this one to the back post. Turner rising high in front of Ryan. And Koso keeps possession. Ladich, coolly done, but given away to Gorry. Morton, South will look to break here. Gorry on the right wing. Alex Walter making a storming run down here. There's a lovely ball from Morton. It's Walter trying to get it under his spell. He's got a few in to the back post, and that one is well overhit from Alex Walter. And probably the first promising counter-attack for South goes begging.
That was the best pass of the day, I think, from Nick Morton there to find Walter on that left-hand side. He just slotted it between the lines, perfectly weighted. Very well done from the lad, and the cross was a bit disappointing in the end from a fella who has, ploughed the field really well up on that left-hand and right-hand side as Alex Walter today, but just no end product with that one, unfortunately. But keeping things at 0-0, you'd have to say that South would be reasonably happy so far, because probably haven't had the benefit of the possession or the position of the field.
And we've seen in seasons past, and even in already so far in this pre-season, South Hobart do tend to run out games just that tad bit stronger than others here in NPL Taz. They do have a reputation for a bit of Morton time as opposed to Fergie time and late winners here, so the longer this stays 0-0, the more it plays into the hands of South Hobart as Bowman tries to find Gorry, but is easily dispossessed. Ryan didn't have anyone really in front of him, turns it over as far as Turner. Now to Morton, trying to get it under control. Stevens back to keeper McDonald. Looks to play a cute chip ball to Wortman, but Walter gets in the way, and Lazinski just pulled his studs out in the nick of time there.
That was like watching a man dive out of the way of a train there from Jono Ladic, and probably a wise decision for the man if he wants to maintain a healthy and functioning body. So we see the Rasmus in the shadows over on the right-hand side of the ground. Ball ends up in the hands of D'Souza, but he can't do anything particularly useful with it. Stevens and Ryan get things going, or Scott rather. The other of the Englishmen, he does find Ryan, the new Englishman, and he takes it on first time, but just didn't get the power that he wanted on that shot, or quite the direction that he wanted either, I think.
No, he went for it first time, which in strikers you don't tend to blame him when they do that, but a nice little control and cut back to the D, and Joffrey Nkoso was running at full pelt and would have ran onto that one nicely. The benefit of having a slightly more bird's eye view from up here in the commentary box as Ludford looks down the line. That's right, going straight out of play there from Ludford, right in the black spot of Warrior Park.
Yeah, certainly down in the void where our eyes can't quite catch a glimpse of what's going on. Mearns now just gives it the up and under. That ball's got snow on it. The Rasmus, though, very accustomed to snow coming from Denmark. Gets up and wins it. Now the ball falls to Joffrey Nkoso. Gets into a battle with Turner, but takes him on. Called him the returner last year after switching clubs from Olympia and then back to South. He loses out, and just a little bit of a lull there in play for a second, while players almost seemed to think that the free had been blown, but South get things going again with another lumped clearance. Stevens doesn't quite get the bite that he wanted of it. Eventually it does fall to the New English import, looking for another. Ryan now he's in, and he appears to just be onside. Just manages to keep it in, finds the business, comes to Ladic in the middle, tries to play it through Walter, but once again Walter very strong at the back. Englishman jinking through and gets told to get up by the referee, and I think that was probably the right thing to say.
Great call there from Josh McInerney.
Looking for it as things just threatening to boil over here a little as De Souza goes flying to the ground there as we have a look, and yeah, I think he's looking for it. Certainly De Souza leaves
I absolutely love that little bit of that replay there where you just see the referee's arm go up a few times and say, get up, lad.
Yeah, I think he was looking for it. He realised he didn't quite have the space to shoot, but saw the dangling leg and thought, oh, I'll have a bit of that. Josh McInerney said, no, you won't have a bit of it.
Which is interesting because the player still continues to complain, so perhaps there was just slightest touch of contact.
Definitely the leg out as Hill pumps this one into the box towards Ryan, backing into Turner, takes it down. Support comes from Morton. Ladic on the volley! Jono Ladic! What a way to start the season! How's that for your first goal of season 2019? Jono Ladic, you'll be hard-pressed to see a better goal all year.
Jono Ladic just leans back onto the left and launches it into the top right corner of the goal. Looks the goalkeeper in the eyes, says, how's your father? Silences the South Hobart fans over and runs to the Olympia crowd. Yeah. Brilliant goal.
Oh, I just haven't played in the NPL for a while. What can I do on my return? And Jono Ladic goes a whack right in the top corner. Absolutely superb finish. He's been a stalwart of the game here for 10 to 15 years, Jono Ladic, and geez, that's going right on the top of the resume.
When you have class and technique like that, you are an absolute star, aren't you? Take a bow, Jono Ladic. And Francis's annoying wind-up horn thing rings out across Olympia as the first goal of the season goes in, and what a marvellous goal it was. And they're looking to get things going again here, the Olympia Warriors.
You've got to say, it's the least they've deserved on this first half display from the Warriors. They have pretty much battered South Hobart in this first half.
100% deserved lead and 100% class goal, you have to say. Jeez.
Worth the wait.
Oh, it was worth the wait, wasn't it? It's a wonderful sport, football, when you see things like that.
After one of these long off seasons we tend to get here in Australian football of all leagues, it's good to come back to something like that, as now South Hobart will look to try and spark themselves alive in this game. Walter tries the fancy back heel, given away. It's the goal scorer Ladic, finds Mearns. Ryan is
looked onside.
I thought he was about 3 yards offside, but the ball outran to the sideline anyway. Letma Marcus's call of the goal.
Good place to do it, right in front of the wet area. The Greek army of fans down there absolutely loving that one. Ooh. What a hit from Jono Ladic. We spoke of the class this man has, and there is a prime example of it. Comes across from Glenorchy Knights. They certainly were disappointed to lose him, and Olympia delighted to get him. And that is why. What a way to start the season. Jono Ladic, a couple of experienced heads coming back to the league this year. Of course, Todd Hingston up in Devonport, another one. One of those players have been plying their trade outside of the NPL, but everyone knows they're in the top few players in the state.
Yeah, it's for those who are only really followed it since recently in NPL Taz, Jono Ladic was an absolute stalwart at Hobart Zebras.
And, geez, the ref's got to stop the play there. He's just absolutely landed on the back of his neck there as Gilly D'Souza. Done a full 180 mid-air and just gone smack, so rightfully that game has to be stopped because could be a risk of concussion or perhaps a neck injury there. This is a horrible, horrible landing.
That is Ryan just tunneling underneath him and just defenceless at that point. There was absolutely nothing he could do.
Certainly good to see the lad at least moving his limbs fine here, and hopefully it's just going to be a bit of an impact injury rather than anything serious, but rightfully just a little break in play here while we assess the health of Gilly D'Souza.
Players will take on a bit of a drink. They might have put a break slightly earlier. Still 26 degrees out there. It's feeling more than anyone on Gilly D'Souza, and you've got to think that's a very, very high risk of concussion there.
Yeah.
He smashed his head.
And neck injury. Either or, but yeah, it's always worrying when you've got to say it's good to see a player moving their legs freely after they've come out of a horrible challenge like that. So just see that Gilly D'Souza hasn't done himself any permanent harm here, I think. The lad's going to be getting up and getting on with it, I suspect, because he's a hard unit. We just have a look at that goal again too, by any chance, Ash, if you catch a minute or two there.
Yeah, well worth another look, that one, I reckon. Jono Ladic. Worth many, many looks, and I'm sure there'll be many hits of the replay button on this one.
Here we go.
The technique is sublime. Brown's only just reacting at that point. He's going, oh no.
The keeper's done well.
He's been a great fist, but he hit it with such pace. The placement was perfect. Jono Ladic. I don't think you'll see many better season openers.
Who's our substitute camera person over there? Done a very good job over there, our substitute camera person. That is a brilliant shot. Keeping up to the high standards that we keep here at Slice of Cheese with Vlasta.
Big shoes to fill with Vlasta up here in the box tonight.
So play will get underway through Phillipson. He's looking for the searching ball to Havainen. Eventually he puts his foot through it, but he's probably got a bit too much purchase on that. He's used to wider fields, I think, is Phillipson. Now the narrowest ground in Tasmania nearly here at Warrior Park. Down the line to Ladic. Back to Nkoso, who's been a little quiet so far in this first half. Mearns and Vandermeer on the overlap. Now we'll look for Kurtz instead. Stays on side well, but a bit too much pepper on that pass from Nick Mearns. Kieran Brown rolls it short to the Dane Rasmus Phillipson, South Hobart's second favourite ranger. Adam Gorry still keeping that title for the moment, I do believe. Ludford. Cut out by Scott to Nkoso. Now Havainen. Slazinski. Big Albie holding up well against Ortman, using that mismatch to his advantage quite well. Now it's Walter. Morton. Turner. Got a fair bit of room here to run into, does Jack Turner. Heavy touch. Tries the 1-2. Gets the ball back, but after a good bit of burst of energy there from Turner, it again ends up at naught. It'll be a goal kick to the Warriors.
Just seeming like those two bodies in midfield in Turner and Morton are really getting overwhelmed here more and more as this game goes on. I'd have to say. Ladic now just gives it away really poorly there to Gorry. Lazinski now plays Gorry through again. Ortman recovering, gets back and makes a bit of a challenge, but it looks like it could be a corner here. And goal kick given.
Gilly D'Souza's been given the all clear to come back on, which is very good to see after that exceptionally awkward landing. South Hobart, as we mentioned in pre-game, do have a full bench at their disposal, but a couple of fitness-related question marks over a few of them, particularly Luke Farrell, who would be a natural replacement in that defensive midfield position.
There's questions I was hearing from Andrew about the fitness of Luke Farrell earlier before this game, so it'll be interesting to see whether South look to that option later on in this game to try and add a bit more solidity to the midfield.
McDonald here taking his sweet time for this goal kick as he finally launches that one in the Ryan direction. He'll use his body well in front of Walter. Walter then cops the ball in the back of the head unintentionally.
There's Falcon of the year. Yeah. Really impressed with Walter's work defensively in the air tonight. He's going up for absolutely everything, the winger. Really what you'd associate with him, but some vital work as Ryan and Morton exchange a few pleasantries. I'm sure that was G-rated.
They were always going to be best of friends, I figured, Andrew.
Yeah, they seem a likely combination, don't they?
Got so much in common, the love of the game. Two big units, good footballers.
Both play football, yeah.
Yep. I always thought they were going to be friends.
So, concern here for Alex Walter, another head knock, is Rapala testing South Hobart with the policy. Any player that cops a head knock, they want the game stopped so they can do a concussion test. Physio out right now.
Mr. Lancaster, isn't it?
Yes, Matty Lancaster. Out there doing the check on Walter. Not sure if he just wants the half-time break or whether he is a bit groggy, but he's certainly a little ginger getting back to his feet.
Well, we certainly know, and certainly one member of this commentary team knows, that a ball can give you concussion when getting absolutely smacked in the forehead with one.
My thanks to my former sparring partner up here, Damien Gill, for that one. Yes, I did learn that lesson. It was 3 minutes of added time. Have been signalled down there by our fourth official, Tony Peart.
He's got a hammer of a boot, does Gilly, and certainly loves dishing out a concussion to a bloke like you with a weak noggin.
Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, did an absolute number on me about it.
Then did a number on us, as I think that was the Olympia Rangers game. You and I had to do without our far superior person up here in the commentary box pulling, and that was, I think, another one of the Kick Clash games as well. So that was just a bang average 24 hours altogether there.
So, Rangers might be gone, but you'd be glad to know there's a kit appropriation happening midweek now as a process. They need to be nominated beforehand, I think, this year.
Finally.
So no one better forget it on
They deserve to go just for that. They deserve to go just for that.
At least with Riverside coming in and the bright orange kit, I don't think that clashes with anything.
Oh, geez, don't let Tony hear you say that. Have a look out in the middle, mate. There's 3 teams out there, as my colleague is so fond of saying, and he's quite right, as this one's nodded in, and there's some more red with the scone there of Erasmus Phillipson. Jack Ryan wrestling with multiple players here. Turner, a couple of bulls going at it there. DeSouza sticks his boot in. Everyone appeals for it. And eventually Mick and Ernie says South Hobart ball.
That's revenge, Tony, when you watch this back for making your referees' courses too full for me to attend, as Albie launches that one. Oh, get the wrong side here. Gorry in front of Stevens, hits it first time, but good covering defence in the end from Vandermeer, and the Mountain will eventually go whack. And his whack falls to Mearns, but Turner does very well. Oh, give it away here in a crucial area, and Koso's got pace to burn. Phillipson just does enough, and Kieran Brown coolly plays it to Havinen. They're still looking threatening here in stoppage time. As that one's a long ball, not one in particular, but Vandermeer's set his keeper a task there with Gorry bearing down, and Archer. The Archer does very well. Morton could go for Gorry, looks in that direction, and Vandermeer more than redeems himself.
They just seem to have turned their press up a little bit here, don't they, South Hobart? Just really starting to turn the screws now and try and get back into this game. They are a team that often responds, but Morton just trying to do a little bit too much there.
Tough weather to be playing the press here. First game too in kind of a 45-minute period is not possible at all, so they'll be putting it on in bursts, and you're quite right.
Oh, and Lazinski now, he just plays it in over the top, and it's Gorry! Just wide. Very close to getting back on level terms there with South Hobart. Brilliant movement there from Gorry, and a lovely through ball from Big Albie Lazinski.
Twice in behind the lines now. Adam Gorry casting the role of a striker here at the moment. Not something I was expecting to see this evening, but he's had South's 2 best moments of the half here, coming right at the tail end, and
without the speed of someone like Darcy Hall, maybe not a bad option to be just injecting him further up the field. But
question midfield and defensive options. It was almost inevitable someone was going to get forced up into a more advanced role than they're used to. As Mick and Ernie brings the first half to an end. It's been a great first 45 from Olympia, and John O'Ladich has sent them in to the sheds 1-0 ahead with an absolute laser.
Geez, where is he? I'd be getting around him right now, the lad. It's just some marvellous stuff there from Ladich. And the South players looking just a little bit deflated as they come off the ground. They fought hard, but largely getting a little bit overwhelmed here by the three-man midfield, I think. So would not be surprised at all if South Hobart just changed things up at half-time, because you got to say that the three best players on the pitch have probably been Mearns, Scott and John O'Ladich, the man that scored that absolute thunderblast of a goal.
Yeah, add in Jack Ryan, who has really lived up to the pre-season hype here today in the first 45 minutes. That first 45 was all Olympia Warriors. South Hobart with that one last chance in stoppage time, but for all intents and purposes, Olympia have battered them in the first half. And I think they'll be slightly disappointed to only go in 1-0 ahead.
Yeah, I think they'll be glad to just have at least got one this time. We've seen so many times against South the inability to take chances, and it's come back to haunt them late on. But Ken Morton's going to need to tweak a few things here at the half, because his team have been distinctly second best through 45 minutes here at a very hot Warrior Park in the NPL Tasmania season opener. We'll be back in around about 10 minutes time with what is said to be a big second 45.
We're not calling the mini-roos.
The Warriors with the centre victory, and look, you can knock yourself out if you want, mate. But personally, I'm going to take a breather.
Quite the connection on it. He wanted in the Englishman and Kieran Brown.
From these teams in a while now. The corner's taken short. It's back out. Great ball in. Oh, what an incredible save on the line there. That is just marvellous there from Brown to get South Hobart out of trouble. Jeez.
Opportunity as the ball goes towards middle there. And Alex Walter probably should have got a shout from his keeper there. Ryan comes in, no one there, off the post. Brown again, the header straight at him, but deflects it onto the bar this time. Albie.
Nice, but great piece of goalkeeping all the same. Phillipson skewing it up in the air. In comes Ryan. Jeez, he's a powerful figure in the air, is Jack Ryan. And he tells it as far as the Englishman who's working it towards his compatriot Ryan.
That
is frustrated by that one.
Oh,
just good body work, I thought.
The option of Gorry short. Turned over. Now Mearns go clattering in the back.
Yeah, we'll play that one.
And I think the huge amount from Joffrey, the king of the handle so far this game. But here he is now on the ball. He's got a free player at the back post. Nearly checks the keeper, Joffrey and Koso. Not sure if that was a deliberate attempt or not, but he was a terribly flat, heavy touch player over at the back post. Aims to keep it in, does Ryan. Assesses the situation and eventually cleared.
Olympia in midfield. Ludford now belts it forward. A bit of an unconventional play at that from Scott, I think it was. South Hobart combining. Can he turn here? Oh, potential little shout there, I thought, for Albie. Just looked like he copped a little bit of a kick to the knee there, but Mearns gets it back to Hill. They've got an overlap on here on the other side. John O'Ladich now finds Kurtz. It's got Bowman for company. There's a couple in the middle here, but the cross just had too much sting on it. The other of the Englishmen, he does find Ryan, the new Englishman, and he takes it on first time, but just didn't get the power that he wanted on that shot, or Called him the returner last year after switching clubs from Olympia and then back to South. He loses out and just a little bit of a Ladich in the middle. Tries to play it through Walter, but once again, Walter very strong at the back. Englishman jinking through and gets told to get up.
Into the box towards Ryan, backing into Turner, takes it down. Support comes from Morton. Ladich on the volley! Jono Ladich! What a way to start the season! How's that for your first goal of season 29?
Recently in NPL Taz, Jono Ladich was an absolute stalwart at Hobart Zebras.
And geez, the ref's got to stop the play there.
Launches that one in the Ryan direction. He'll use his body well in front of Walter. Walter then cops the ball in the back of the head unintentionally.
Best Falcon of the year. Yeah. Really impressed with Walter's work defensively in the air tonight. He's going up for absolutely everything, the winger. Really what you'd associate with him, but some vital work as Ryan and Morton exchange a few.
The referee's course is too full for me to attend as Albie launches that one. Oh, get the wrong side here. Gorry in front of Stevens, hits it first time, but good covering defence in the end from Vandermeer, and the Mountain will eventually go whack.
They'll be putting it on in bursts, and you're quite right.
Oh, and Lesinski now, he just plays it in over the top, and it's Gorry! Just wide. Very close to getting back.
everybody can start picking up their cones and balls and things. And thank you to the Olympia FC Warrior SAP and Academy programs for having a kick. Just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to look at our matchday program, go to olympiafc.com, click on the matchday program link, and you'll be able to read it right there. Also, if you're interested in any Olympia FC merchandise, you can go to One Team Sports Puma, click on that, and click on our logo, it'll take you to our merchandise shop, and you'll be able to buy a whole bunch of stuff. Scarves, beanies, shirts, hoodies, bags, a whole range of Olympia FC logoed apparel. Membership is that if any of you are inclined to become members of the club, it's a great way where you can make a simple donation to the club for the membership, and we will benefit. So please come in and support your Olympia FC Warriors by your membership.
Is Meropi right over there?
Once again,
Because she's just following the boys. Now they're going to get over there, but I'm going to go away with Dimitri!
You need some more than
Dimitri! Come here!
I think we're back here for the second half at Warrior Park. Indeed, we are. It's been 15 minutes here filled with mini-roos action. Great to see so many youngsters out there having a kick at half-time. A couple of stragglers just still trying to make their way off the pitch before we can resume here. But looks like a substitution has been made. I saw number 10, so Alex Walter, it would seem, is not recovered from that head knock at the end of the first half. Luke Farrell deemed not fit enough to start, but he's apparently fit enough to come in here and slide in for the second half and up against it.
That is that change that Paul and I were just talking about before the beginning of this second half. Would South Hobart look to add a little bit of stability into their midfield? And it looks like they have done that with Loic Farrell slotting in there.
Interesting to see who they put out on the wing. Both Turner and Morton have played there in the past, but you wouldn't say it's their most natural position, and as it stands at the moment, it looks like they're just not operating with a left winger at the moment. Let's see, the old 4-2-2-2 was another weird old FIFA formation I do recall there being possibility. It seems like South Hobart's rocking that one at the moment.
Oh, well, they seem to have been playing a fairly solid four at the back. We were initially wrong there at the start, but they'll probably slot into a three-man midfield and stick with a 4-3-3. I think it just depends where Nick Morton will line up, I think, because he'll be roaming, I think, but perhaps based a little bit off the left, but we'll wait and see there.
Fairly fluid, the way they interchange this South Hobart team as Bowman drops it back to Rasmus Philipson. So Ludford and Brown. So South, they won't be panicking. They're usually amongst the fitter teams in the competition, and fitness will definitely come into it tonight. It's a very sticky evening out there. It's warm conditions. Despite the fact we're playing in the evening, it'll be hotter than the majority of games they'll play this year. So how have the pre-seasons gone? How big are these boys' tanks? We're going to find out here in the second half. With South Hobart chasing the game thanks to a stunner from Jodo Ladic in the first half. Rasmus Philipson punches it straight there into Kurtz. Feral TV works it to Jack Turner, then back to Loic Farrell. Good anticipation from Hill, got in ahead of Lazinski. Bouncing off him was Turner. And then Scott again intercepting. Ryan competing up against Ludford. Falls out the back now for Nick Mearns. Turner putting the pressure on him, but Mearns turns away from him with pure class, then just tried for the killer ball over the top. quite enough to spring Ryan, but just a glimpse of what Mearns can do. Gorry trying to bowl on down the right, but just running out of room on the wing there.
Yeah, lovely turn there from Nick Mearns. Thought he could have had a foul there as well. Jack Turner nipping at his heels as the Archers put that exceptionally close to us up here at the commentary box.
Just says enough of your rubbish, Paul.
Yeah, look,
That's a little pot shot at you, and I don't mind him doing that.
Hate to think how hate to think how hard that ball's going to be by about round 10, but anyway.
Just trying to stop you carrying on. As we see Gorry now. Good hold-up play there from Lazinski, but he couldn't quite get the touches that he wanted. Feral TV is coming onto the ball.
Interesting there, Jack Turner really instructing his team just to really slow the pace of the game down. We would have seen in the first half, they would have been eager to try and play that ball as quickly as possible. And now they're just happy to play it across the back line, which they did do a fair bit in pre-season, trying to keep possession a little bit more effectively. Bowman looking for an option down the line. Plays it off Kurtz, who's been the quietest Olympia player on the field. Bowman steals it away this time, does Kurtz. He's got Feral TV for company, tries to play it inside to Ryan. Farrell keeps it in and goes back to Kieran Brown. It's a pretty wobbly looking pass, but Brown does just enough to get it to Gilly. DeSouza, Scott, Mearns turning away. I think that's the last touch off Mearns. McInerney thinks the same and awards a South Hobart throw-in. Right in the dark web of Warrior Park. Crunched off Nick Mearns again for another throw-in. Bowman down the line looking for Gorry. Any height advantage there for Vandermeer. Now Bowman launches that one into the car park, and the quicker they can get out of that corner of the ground, the more appreciative we'll be up here.
Yeah, it needs to be called off the monitor, really, doesn't it, this one? And that black hole of a corner as this one's thrown down the line. Kurtz tries the back heel, get past the Archer though. Into DeSouza, just big up and under there from the Brazilian. That'll come down, well, I'd say with snow on it, but no chance of that today. A little bit later is here probing here, looking for their first chance of the second half. The game they're keeping at the moment. South Hobart looking to repel, and they should get the throw in here through DeSouza. To take it quickly, and he launches it down the line onto the head of Lazinski. Flick on for Morton, will be tracked by Stevens. Donald is calm, strokes it wide, couldn't quite pick out the business Ortman though. Toby Havayan lets it run, then takes it quickly, puts it out in front of Turner. Morton will get there first though, and Lucas Hill charging that down. He's not put a foot wrong so far this evening, the big mountain.
Just collects a little bit of Nick Morton with that follow through there too, does Lucas Hill, just letting him know that he's there.
Catch a glimpse of James Sherman in the crowd there, the Glenorchy Knights man, just scouting out the rivals. They open their season up at Windsor Park against Riverside next Saturday afternoon. Mearns dispossessed by Morton. I thought they had a good challenge, and then Mearns cluttered into afterwards and we'll get a free kick anyway. On the ball here, did the Morton.
A little bit disappointed we've lost the Sherman tank set pieces in the top leagues these days, Andrew.
Did tease that if an injury crisis were to hit, he might just stride back onto the pitch himself. So there is hope. There is hope.
I'm getting a Sporting Club Portugal type situation going on here at Glenorchy Knights pretty soon.
Oh, look, I'm a big fan of player coach being brought back, and I'll be all for that as Ryan tries to flick it on. But as far as Kieran Brown, hasn't been enough of that lately in the football world. That one's rolled out to Phillipson. Finds Gorry. Gorry immediately looks up. The option of Turner, but finds Albie Lazinski. Sails up. Lazinski down the line in the Gorry direction. Stevens will come across and cover. Corner ball. Goal kick given in the end. Maybe a double deflection there, I think is the only thing I can think of.
Well, to be fair to McInerney, who has barely put a foot wrong all day, the young lad, I think we had a much, much better view of that than he did.
I'm still not trusting my judgment over his, though.
And I think that's probably fair, Paul. McDonald now for the Warriors. Hasn't had too much to do early on. A little bit hard to make an assessment on this player from what we've seen so far, but comes with very good football pedigree. And he just lumps it wide. Feral TV wins the header back to the Rasmus. South Hobart look to just combine and get things going up the left-hand side, but Olympia certainly not looking as snappy in midfield as they did in the first half, you've got to say so far, boys.
Not quite the same intensity out there, although they swarm in on Turner here. Lage sliding in. Lazinski got a good piece of it. Bowman really huffing and puffing to get there. Kurtz got there first, and then it'll be a throw in for Vandermeer. Back to Ladic. A couple of experienced customers there. Leadership. The Warriors between those two. Scott is going to be ignored. He goes further afield. To turn here is Nick Mearns. Turned into trouble though. Gilly De Souza just whacking that one away. It's kind of been his role here this evening, really, hasn't it? It's been a bit of clear felling type situation from De Souza. He's been smashing balls away with a lot of defensive work. That was really clever from Morton. It sprung Adam Gorian behind. He's got Jack Turner in the middle. Can he pick him out? Paul Stevens got back, got himself in the way of it. And Turner just accidentally on purpose gets himself intertwined with McDonald there. Jack being Jack. McDonald smashes along, nowhere near Ryan though. Phillipson stoops to De Souza. Gorry, clever little back heel, didn't work though, and now a chance for Scott. Oh, dissect the defence, but Ludford again repelling, and Koso was chased to Vanen and rolls out for a throw in on the hill.
Good to see the dark arts of Dogger Brown still making their way onto the pitch. And Jack Turner there, the accidental one, as Lazinski lines up and it's down the throat of McDonald. Spilt. Gorry puts it in the back of the net, but given he had the ball clutched to his chest, pretty hard not to foul him. And the ball to come out there from Adam Gorry, but Lazinski just had a bit, Stevens backed off him and the trajectory wasn't too far away as he's Gorry just pretty much whacks the ball out of McDonald's hand.
Yeah, look, when you didn't hear a peep out of me on that one, you know it's a fair non-event because there's no way a referee will let anybody get away with that one.
Should they? Gorry cheeky there, but perhaps born out of frustration. Ryan again the target as he holds off the attentions of the Rasmus there. Nick Mearns. Won't outwork the rust out tonight is Mearns. Strong there was Ladic. South Hobart win it back. Jack Turner, good sliding challenge, just held him up a little, and Gorry doesn't quite have the wheels to get on the end of it. South just starting to show better signs though, I think, here in this half.
A little bit of pushing and shoving going on there between Jack Turner and Scott in the middle of the park. So they historically have been two clubs that don't really like each other, South Hobart and Olympia, and we're starting to see that more and more out on the pitch. But Lucas Hill has the feet on that lad. Manages to get it through to Scott again, but a little bit too much heat on it.
Yeah,
Olympia throw.
Curious to know if any sandwich offerings were taken up at half-time here today. There's flicked on another meaty challenge with Luke Farrell coming off best with that one. Trying to take it quickly, but I think McInerney wants a quick chat with Ryan. Just saying, shoulder please, not elbow.
I thought he was complimenting him on the strength of his all-round game, to be honest, because he's been good in the air, good at holding the ball up, looks good at getting him behind, and appears to have a decent strike on him through the limited opportunities that he's had so far.
Nick Mearns there, one of my favourite delaying tactics is just passing the ball to the referee at chest height, as if the referee's about to take the free kick. It's a misplaced pass from Luke Farrell. Souza helps him out there, Lucas Hill. Back to McDonald. Tries to find the head of Kurtz, but it goes over his head. Nice turn from Stevens. Ball out to Ortman, who's got Jack Turner right behind him. He's playing with a bit more mongrel this second half, I think. Jack Turner really harrying, harassing at every possible opportunity, and D'Souza's going to sit up for him, and it's come straight off his knee, right into the arms of McDonald.
Yeah, look, he just seemed to lose concentration on his technique as the pressure came in from behind there, did Gilly De Souza. So, poor shot, really. There's another huge thumping floater comes forward from McDonald there, like a pickle getting launched onto the roof of a certain restaurant.
As Ortman will trot across to take the throw-in. The business. It's pretty good distance on that. Ryan wins the flick on to the back post. Good shot from Kurtz. Deflected Off Bowman for a corner. Another snappy quick shot from Olympia. Got good purchase on it. Did the import.
I think Bowman's actually largely held him pretty well today. I think he's been fairly solid at the back without offering too much forward, as the archer as he's known. So corner to be taken now for Olympia. Curled into the far post. A little bit too far there. Little way, and it looks like the Mearns who was first to get to that, but smacked away from him by that man, the archer, and he looks to get it going quickly. I think that's Havainen. Joffrey and Kozo is quick to harry in midfield. Ball comes to Lucas Hill. He's got feet. Is he going to take a shot from distance? Doesn't. Finds Ladich. Plays it through. Ryan. And it's just cracked underneath the goalkeeper there. A first goal for Ryan. And the first of many, I think, for the Olympia Warriors there. The goalkeeper's going to be a little bit disappointed with that one, though. Just snuck in underneath him like a Kepa Arrizabalaga penalty.
Yes, we'll just see if Kieran Brown has any substitution issues if Morton wants to bring Graham Wright on. But one he'd like to have back there, young Kieran Brown, just squirms under his body. Jack Ryan, I'm sure he'll score better goals than that this year, but right now they don't care how they go in. They've just doubled their advantage. It's 2-0 Olympia, and they are well on the way to a big season opening victory here, fellas. They're playing some good football. South are probably coming off their best 10 minutes of the match, in truth, and they're now down 2-0 and really staring down the barrel.
You know, the only thing that has been as good as Olympia tonight is, I think, our pre-game predictions so far, boys, looking very good at the moment. But that was some wonderful play around the edge of the box there from the Olympia Warriors, particularly Ladich getting involved there and giving off a beautiful finish there.
Done very well, but Olympia just sneaking in a little substitution there while everyone was enjoying the sound of Francis's air horn. It's Joel Samet coming in the middle of the parts. I don't see Nick Mearns at first glance in the centre of the park. And I see Scott and Ladich, and I don't see Mearns. So
could be job done.
And that's job done for Nick Mearns, a solid 60 minutes.
Well, with the knee injuries that he's had historically, probably a wise move to just kind of ease him into competition given the class that he's had, but really controlled the midfield well with what looks like it's going to be a pretty fearsome midfield three for the Warriors this year.
Yeah, I think that's a good move, and Samet looks like he's playing in a more advanced position than Mearns was, really staying a bit higher on the South Hobart defence.
He's typically a wide man, so we might see Kurtz just sliding back a bit more centrally if Samet's going to take the wider position. Wait and see what happens there. Is this going to be a delay again? Cheese here for McDonald. So there we go, a slice for McDonald.
Can't be having the first slice of cheddar for the season being that. I want a crunching challenge. It's
a little underwhelming, isn't it?
It is very underwhelming.
Oh, it was Mike Dean-like in the way that McInerney joyfully skipped up to the player there to hoist that cheese into the air, though. And rightfully given, and Lucas Hill just attempting to delay it a little bit more there by getting himself involved. What is this?
It's didn't have his hand up.
And there we go, and it's cheese for Lucas Hill, I think, there as well.
No, I think he was holding the whistle up. McInerney is an indirect free kick. No, well, I have absolutely no idea what he was doing there. And the third time of asking, McDonald launches that one forward over the head of Ryan. Bounces. Ludford just about does enough. Bowman manages to find Gorry. Uses the spin to his advantage. Kelly De Souza loses that one. Now to Morton. Morton competing with 3 Olympia Warriors players around him. And I think does just enough to win the throw. It's Phillipson. Searching ball into the centre of the park. Turner just keeps it out of the prying legs of John Ladich. Ludford now just trying to add some composure in the South Hobart build-up. Not under a huge amount of pressure. Samet does well to rob Morton of the ball. He's got Ryan in and just slightly overhits it. Jack Ryan still in on goal. Shoots! Hits it wide of the target there, Jack Ryan. Promising setup again for the Warriors, and could have been 3.
Joel Samet did half the work that he needed to there. It was brilliant the way that he won the ball back there, but just really overhit that one and put it a little bit further behind where it should be too. So they just delivered that ball there better. You'd be thinking that Ryan could have had 2 on debut, but they will get more chances, I'm sure, these Warriors. They've been good today. Setting up this near side, a little bit of combination play between Gorry and Bowman, but the end result of that will be a South Hobart throw.
Yeah, I certainly think last year there was some contention that they really missed that Jakob Sklenage all-round number 9 type player they had in 2017. They didn't quite have that last season, but I think they've definitely got it this year in Jack Ryan as Scott heaves it clear, but McInerney pulls it back for the free kick to South Hobart. And that was really the missing piece, as well as Mearns last year, and if they can keep Ryan in form and Mearns fit, they are looking like title challengers again this season. As Gorry sizes up his options. Gorry looks near, finds the feet of Lazinski just about, but cleared by Samet. Kurtz heaves that one into the night sky. Look at the pace of Jack Ryan, putting Havainen under all sorts of pressure here. Ryan gets in front of him. There's a free player in the box. Chest control. Samet. Just enough for Kieran Brown to get out. It falls to Nkoso. Danger still not over for South.
Well done, Kieran Brown.
Back to Ladich, and he just underhits that one towards his centre midfield partner in Scott, and it now fizzes away, but another gilt-edged opportunity there for the Warriors.
Oh, just a little bit too strong on the chest touch there was Samet. He had time to certainly wait for that ball to come down, but you got to give a bit of credit to Kieran Brown in the goals. He was fast to come out there and deny the space to Samet and really put him under pressure, which can force the poor touches. So a little bit of a recovery there for the slight mistake earlier. Ryan now for Olympia. They got players in the box. The Rasmus, though, knocks the ball far away into the shadows.
We've lost pictures here, I think, at the moment, folks. So we'll keep you covered with the commentary here. Bear with us. A few technical glitches we're sorting through early in the year. The business ornament into the bullseye there for Samet. Leaves it behind for John O'Ladich. Lazinski comes in and just stomps from behind and fouls him, ringing down John O'Ladich in the middle of the park. That'll be a free kick, and that was a foul of pure frustration, I reckon, from Big Albie there.
Yeah, they certainly wouldn't be allowed to do that in boxing, so I'm not really sure why he got away with that one without a cheese. It was actually fairly brutal there from Albie, but the ball now just sitting at the top of the Olympia box, but Gorry has it for South Hobart, and he's streaking away up the byline, plays a ball in behind, but comfortably knocked back to the keeper there by Lucas Hill.
McDonald has barely had to make a real save in anger here so far in the first 60-odd minutes of this game. But what we have learned, he's got a thumping kick on him. Phillipson wins that one in front of Ryan. Nicey header there from Havainen, but Feral TV does well. It's Havainen now on the left-hand side, combining with Morton. D'Souza gets one in the back from Hill. Hill wins it, charges through the middle of the pass, throws a step over the centre-back to the cheers of the wet area here at Olympia Park, but it all falls to nothing, and Kieran Brown will collect that one. But when you got the centre-back throwing step-overs as charging into the opposition territory, it's all happening.
He's got the dribbling skills and the pace to do it, does Lucas Hill, and he can offer a little bit of it, a little bit of that too. Yeah. A little bit of a centre-back with some attributes of a winger there. South Hobart now in the centre of the pitch, just holding on to possession. Seem fairly concerned about the Warriors' ability to win the ball and transition into attack quickly, so just playing slow here, South. And a little bit of a coming together between Ludford and Nkoso before the sportsman-like high fives.
Yeah, I think both of them wanted to just keep going with their own 1v1 jousting match there, but a foul had been called, and now it's on the near side through Bowman. Switched out to Nick Morton, who's adopted a temporary centre-back position so he can get his feet on the ball. Kieran Brown searches out wide for the Archer. Heavy touch from Bowman, does well to get around Ladich. Lazinski just on his heels slightly. Lucas Hill wanting a free kick there, eventually getting it. I'm not entirely sure what Albie Lazinski did that time.
You could almost call that one a spear tackle, I reckon. So Albie Lazinski probably deserving that slice of cheese.
just lent the shoulder in, I think, and Hill's momentum just bared straight into him, and he upended the mountain there, the big fella. He took quite the tumble. A big smile afterwards, and the Warriors crowd have been a bit beaten down over the last few years in these South Hobart games, but I think they've just got the scent of victory in their nostrils, and these fans are just starting to get a little bit excited out there in the wet area. They sense that tonight may well be the night the hoodoo finally comes to an end, and well, probably better off doing it now than they were in round 20 last year. You'd probably prefer it to be round 1 of the next season.
I think they
pictures about
certainly do sound fairly happy over there, do the wet area. But they always going to be cheering on Olympia regardless. Very solid support base that they have here, and very well catered for by the club too.
Yeah, very well done by the Warriors. As that one goes to Ludford, trying to play out through the back half South Hobart. Still at the centre-back area. As now George Mamarcus is giving us a substitution update, and Koso bursting into the box, getting around the other side. Here's Havainen, and it's Albie Lazinski, who as soon as he got that slice of cheddar, made his way off. I'd wager it'd be Isaac DeGhetto who's come on. And it is Isaac in DeGhetto, now playing up top for South Hobart. I believe we saw him there pretty early in the season last year as well.
I've been corrected by the family members that it's DeGhetto, but I'm a little bit disappointed by the tradition there. I do prefer DeGhetto.
It ruins so many more gag opportunities.
I won't be so arrogant as to tell someone how to pronounce their name though. So I'll be rolling with DeGhetto. No, DeGhetto it is. And Olympia on the right hand here, getting things going. This man Scott's been fairly impressive on debut. Really sitting at the base of the midfield and patrolling the space in front of the centre-backs well. Playing a traditional defensive midfield role at times, and other times contributing well to the attacks.
Should have pictures back for you momentarily, I'm told. Ash has just hurried on over to the other side of the pitch, fixed up the camera, and is now hustling back over here to bring you the pictures. Apology for the disruption here in the second half. Thankfully, didn't occur when Ladich hit that volley. But nothing too serious we've missed as Jack Bowman works into the middle of the park for Luke Farrell. Now at the top of the bullseye, it's Nick Morton driving at Lucas Hill. Worked it to De Souza. Lucas Hill trying to get it back off of Morton there. It's going to be a chance for a cross here. Work it back to Morton. Back to Luke Farrell. Farrell to Bowman. Back to the Frenchman, very patient, knocking the ball around about 20 yards out from the goal here. They're just striking around Olympia, have everybody back there, unmoved. Finally, the cross comes to the top of the box, deflects off of Ryan and away from goal. He's being worked under it by Samet, and it's going to be a free kick in the end, and it's coming against Havainen and in favour.
That is the advantage of Warrior Park, is if you do have a 2-goal lead, just because you've got such little space to have to defend here compared to other grounds. It is pretty much the smallest we have here in the NPL Taz, as Stevens has hit a wild back pass that McDonald wasn't there for. Gilly De Souza.
As I've mentioned in the past before, I think, Paul, this is an old hockey ground before it was redeveloped, and actually one of the unique examples of the fact that a football pitch is technically allowed to be smaller than a field hockey pitch, though the vast majority of them are larger. I think Warrior Park is one of those grounds that's probably approaching just barely bigger than a field hockey ground, I reckon. Yeah. So certainly one of the smallest grounds, and for that I think you tend to get games that are fairly quick in transition and often a lot of goals. So
it's a great
enjoy the matches over here, to be honest.
Great place to play on the counter-attack here at Warrior Park, as Nkoso will try and do the same here. Knocks it out the left-hand side to Kurtz. Kurtz inside to Ladich. Now to Vandermeer. Vandermeer down left-hand touchline, but that has gone wildly out of play for a throw-in about just inside South Hobart's half. It's unfortunately down in the dark spot here at Warrior Park.
Down in the elephant graveyard. You must never go there, Simba.
Jack Bowman launches that one to Morton. Heaved into the night sky. Vandermeer clears it. Ludford nearly gets it in the centre of the park. Calls for a free kick to Olympia Warriors. Not heated. Kurtz again on the left-hand touchline. Ryan getting into battle with Phillipson, getting into battle with Ludford, and just frankly getting into a battle with everyone is Jack Ryan, but I think he thought he won the free kick there for a moment.
Oh, just an absolute battering ram there was the Englishman. Really like the way he's gone about it today. He just gets stuck in and gives 100% to every single 50-50 that he goes into. I think there's times that we've seen that South Hobart players haven't gone 100% for every 50-50.
There's Morton now striding through the middle of the park. It's for Luke Farrell in the centre circle. Sprays it out to the left-hand side where Kenny D'Souza seems to have popped up in the last 5 or so minutes. We've seen him centre-back last year, defensive midfield throughout the pre-season, and now his left wing. Scott intercepts, looks to play through Ryan, calls for offside flag, down for the moment and then up. Eventually, good work there from South Hobart, just running to in front, or running to the halfway line, I should say. It was a pretty tight call, but Ryan didn't quite get back in time. Turn up in the centre of the park. He's Degetto for company. Bowman back to Turner. Turner will play it back to Luke Farrell at defensive mid. Now Morton. He's got options out wide should he want to choose them. Morton elects to go centrally, but Stevens will bomb that one clear, and now it's a 1v1. Ryan v. Phillipson. And again, just a flailing arm from Jack Ryan, and this time he earns a slice of cheddar. Does one of tonight's goal scorers, Jack Ryan. Just a flailing arm there on Phillipson.
And you can hear the boos ring out across Warrane here tonight, because a lot of people in the crowd there just thinking that that was a little unfair. Didn't really look to me like he was trying to swipe him in the face, just perhaps one of those inadvertent contacts that you get in the game of football.
Probably one the refs are on the lookout for after pre-season action too, seeing the kind of physical player he was. He does use his arms a lot, the big centre forward, as a substitution being made here for Olympia. Jacob Lehman coming on here and replacing Bay Kurtz. So change there, and thankfully we have pictures back here for the final 15 minutes of the game. We apologise for all the technical difficulties here in the season opener, but haven't missed any goals.
Yeah, you didn't miss much.
The Warriors looking pretty comfortable. You might have missed the build-up to the boil over here, though, because things are starting to get a little bit fiery, I sense.
Yeah, that's true. Certainly not a boil over in terms of the result we predicted up here in the Slice of Cheese commentary box.
Okay, Mr. Toole. Don't think I forgot what you really picked for. You're not sliding that one in there, sunshine.
Hey, I'm trying to say 3 versus 1 in the predictions. I'm humbling myself by saying I was wrong.
Revisionist hunt as they get things going again to Olympia, but only as far as the Bowman. And he's streaking away at the right-hand side before a big coming together between him and the new man on the pitch for the Olympia Warriors. But he springs to his feet fairly quickly, having won the free. To be taken by the Rasmus. Looks to switch the play fairly quickly. It's not in particular a very wide ground either, is it, Olympia Park, by any stretch, so often it seems that the Warriors tonight have been really able to cover those spaces, but in behind here is Havainen, and he's got Degetto! But well defended there by Paul Stevens, much to the cheers of the Olympia faithful there, making sure that it stayed at 2-0 for the Warriors, closing in on what would be an historic victory for them tonight.
Yeah, it would be good covering defence there from Stevens, who's we haven't had to call a huge amount tonight. It's been Hill that's taken most of the plaudits as this corner goes lower near, cleared by Scott. And again, the cheers go up from Olympia. I think they're going to cheer every clearance in the next 15 minutes.
Oh, it's wonderful atmosphere in here tonight, so you've got to give the Olympia Warriors faithful full credit for the way that they've all come out and packed into the ground to support their club in the opening game of the season, and it seems like they're going to get their awards bar any fairly extraordinary circumstances emerging. Looks like the long throw here potentially for South. Gilly D'Souza just offering the short option though. Be curled in now. The ball's played into the box. All defended there by Lucas Hill. Hugh Ludford comes together now, but only as far as the Bowman. Bowman looks to try to get it to Degetto, but looks like it was on there for Olympia. It's a bit contested though in the middle of the ground.
It's now Ortman and D'Souza battling for it on the far side of the ground into Gorry. Gorry's got Bowman over if he wants him. Likes to play it there. Could have gone to Turner. Now looks centrally to Morton. Morton turns and Hill tries to go whack Stevens now in there. Morton on the ground. Stevens still clipping at his heels and eventually gets it clear. Morton fouls from the bench there. Stevens and Morton getting stuck in.
There wasn't that much in that.
A little bit of spice in this half, though.
There really wasn't that much in that.
Stevens ends up with a slice of cheddar to his name. And so does Nick Morton.
Oh, and the crowd enjoying that. Nick Morton can't quite believe it.
I can't really believe it either. What the hell did he do?
Not sure what the bigger roar was. Laddich's stunning volley or Nick Morton getting a yellow card. The crowd liking them in equal parts, I feel.
Well, if ever there was a villain to the Warrior Park faithful, I think that would be your man. He's given them 3 years of pain, and I think they're probably going to enjoy what might be a bit of revenge tonight.
Still not entirely sure what they were for, but anyway.
Anyway, it's presented a chance.
There was a slight shoulder barge there from Paul Stevens, but
There was about 3 before it as well.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe just trying to get the game back into control here was the referee, McInerney.
Yeah, I think so. I think just trying to calm things down. Easy yellow, that's not how.
But ultimately, this is probably the right decision.
So throw in goes to Jack Turner, looking to turn Scott there. Back to the Morthog with a finesse. A little curling effort. And again, the Bronx cheers goes up behind the Warriors net.
That's definitely louder than Laddich's goal, that cheer.
You got to be careful with stuff like that because he's the kind of player who might just feed on that, I think, Nick Morton.
Oh,
I haven't seen him try one like that all game, and if he's just starting to feel so inclined to get himself on the score sheet, then he'll be getting worried about it. McDonald now launches a long goal keep. Morton now looks to spread the ball, but puts it a little bit behind Bowman. Bowman finds Turner in a little pocket. He combines with Gorry, but has to look back to Bowman here, and I think they'll look to switch it potentially. Oh, brilliant movement there from Gorry. It's a beautiful ball across to Gilly D'Souza, but Mark Ortman was in some wonderful space there. Now can Olympia find a counter-attack? No. Gorry again, very alert and in the space. Nick Morton now plays it through. DeGetto onside. Gilly D'Souza. And put behind, I think, by the Olympia Warriors defender. Just in time there to keep it at 2-0.
It's just in time, but as we see, South Hobart, as they constantly do, just finishing games that tad stronger. And that's the last few minutes. They've made a few more of those storming runs that we're so accustomed to seeing. They've made comebacks later. Have South Hobart. Ball into the near post. Just Souza nearly gets there, but Stevens heads it away. Bowman with the shot. It was a centre-back shot there from the Archer. That fell horribly wide, much to the continued Bronx cheers of the Olympia faithful.
He seemed to get a reasonable amount of power on that one, but none of the direction desired. Olympia just closing this game out now. We're not seeing as many attacking forays from them, but rather a really solid shape. And seeing Scott seemingly sit closer and closer to his defence as this game has worn on. Maybe tiredness, maybe tactical.
I think he's certainly been given the instructions just to really help solidify the middle of the park.
Been marvellous today, and I'm not sure who I'd give my man of the match to between him and Ladich at this stage, but they've both been pretty extraordinary.
The midfield for Olympia has been fantastic tonight as Nkoso looks to get on the ball. Scott wins the header, quite the direction he wanted, and Turner places a nice little ball to Gorry, who hits it first time. Adam Gorry sailing wide. McDonald didn't quite have his angles covered.
You could just see the spin on that ball, though, as he'd hit it, and it was as if it was going to take an off break and just turn it into that far corner, but just not quite getting the revolutions on this ageing pitch as he would have wanted there was Gorry.
Not in the day one wicket he won't, not the first day of the season. Slightly later on, perhaps, get a bit more purchase from it. But
and when the wear and tear and a few cracks start opening up in this artificial surface, as they do.
Yeah, not quite there yet. Maybe after a day baking in the sun again tomorrow with the 37 degrees, we'll just put it over the edge there. And next week, those type of volleys will come off.
Bit more humidity.
Yeah. Then the swing will come into play too, obviously, Paul. As this one's lofted forward and nodded down, and it's a chance for Samet, but Jack Turner just works him off it, showing good strength there. Was Jack Turner. Now he's having a run at the defence. Not a lot in support though. Goes back centrally to Morton. Moved it quickly on. Great interception, Ortman. As DeGetto was in there. Koso just bounces off of Morton. And it wasn't shoulder to shoulder in the referee's estimation. A free kick is going to go South Hobart's way.
I thought it was shoulder to shoulder.
We'll have a look on replay.
I think Morton's made the most of it and turned a little.
Yeah, I think he realised he probably wasn't winning it and buys himself the free kick. Good body work from the Warthog, but inside the
Have a
final
look at
10
this
minutes.
man here. The cork in the ocean, just making his run to the far post. The traditional run, I dare say. So, Nick Morton.
And they need something here. They're under 10 minutes left now. South Hobart are going to pull this one out of the fire. They need something. Lucas Hill and Hugh Ludford scrapping away there. Eventually swung in. Phillips in the target. Turner gets his head to it. DeGetto nodding goalward. There's Ludford in there. Scott gets his body in the way. Gorry comes flying through. Well done, Scott. Great Scott. Controlled the ball beautifully and then launched it out of there. Great defensive work. Samet now charging that one down. Couldn't control it while the keeper was off his line. Samet shooting it nicely. Scott looks to give support and eventually Feral TV conceding the foul.
Now, done well there, Joel Samet. Like Farrell certainly had the height and weight advantage over him there, but used his body very nicely just to shield the ball and relieve some of the pressure on his team. Good last-ditch defending from Scott as well. And he'll now take the free kick. Vanen clears as far as Ortman. Back to Stevens under pressure from Gorry. Causes the loose pass and now turn up to Morton. Nice turn from the Warthog. Launches a ball down the line, but again, I think he wanted about an extra 10, 15 metres of width there. Did the Warthog. As Jake Vandermeer in not a particular hurry to take this throw in as we tick into the 84th minute. Still going is Jake Vandermeer. Down the line in the Gorry direction. He just plays safety first and nods it out.
Looks like he's taking a little knock on his ankle. Is Adam Gorry just feeling a little bit after that one? That's certainly not another player that they would want to be injured. South Hobart, one of their key components of their team, especially given that Connor Schmidt's out. To be missing both number one fullbacks would be a huge blow for this team. Can you get back and avenge the loss to Devonport in the title race last year? But what a night for the Warriors so far. They've just been composed and locked this game out.
Yeah, it's shaping up to be one of their finer nights in NPL Tas history here for the Warriors. Holding on to break the hoodoo over their bogey side, and can they get a third just to really add a cherry on top of the cake? Scott looks towards the back post. Brown comfortably takes the chest mark and rolls it out quickly. South looking to break early. It's DeGetto. Oh, Gorry.
Scott.
Is where he went centrally, and he's still got Scott harassing him now.
He took that free kick and then he sprinted 50 metres to apply a bit of pressure and has just about forced the turnover to his team, or if not, slowed down the attack enough that they could find shape. Vandermeer coming out to defend the left-hand side. Bowman takes him on, tries to get a cross in, but well done there from big Jakey Vandermeer to concede the corner but prevent the cross from coming in.
I thought that was a goal kick at first glance. I think the AR had a much better view than I did.
Two centre-backs going at each other in the wide areas there, with Bowman charging as Vandermeer. Nominally centre-backs, of course, playing slightly different roles here as De Souza swings it in, looking for Ludford, but there was that man Scott again, repels as far as Morton. Looks to get the better of Vandermeer. And he sticks to him. Great cross from Morton. Or McDonald claws it back to the centre of the box and Stevens away. It was a teasing cross, that one.
They boo him, but he feeds on it.
He's certainly up his game, hasn't he, the last 10?
They just need to be a little bit careful here of hubris, I think, the Warriors crowd, because you wouldn't want to be dropping 2 goals to this South Hobart team, because it would feel like a win for them, that's for sure.
Just running the risk of poking the bear a little bit, but I
think they're safe.
I suppose at this point of the game, they're as safe as they're likely to be. But one goal would certainly make things very interesting, given all the history that's gone on between these sides in recent years.
I think we also didn't quite give McDonald enough credit on what I think was a save on that cross, because Morton's cross did look like it could have been creeping in far post. So
worries me a bit when a keeper puts it back into the middle of the box,
yep.
But maybe he saw Stevens there and worked it to him, benefit of the doubt. And in the end, the danger passed. They hold a 2-0 lead and they're in the box seat for a big victory here, Olympia. going very nicely for them this evening.
Yeah, I think he would have liked a little more purchase on the save there, McDonald, but it's now the business Ortman, who's, whilst not nominally a right back, has done pretty well in that position so far tonight. Looks for Samet, can't quite hold it up. Now Turner to Gorry. Gorry immediately pressured by Lehman. Gorry turns away. Looks to centre it to Morton. Morton with Hill charging in the back. The Mountain doesn't get a lot of the ball there, and the free kick has been given. Balls for advantage. It was a little bit of a contested ball there.
I think probably wise to bring it back because there was nobody in the box there for South Hobart whatsoever. Just starting to see a little bit of the fatigue in the players out there now.
Yeah, noticing Lucas, the Mountain Hill stretching the calves out a little bit over the last 5 to 10 minutes. Also, Hugh Ludford's pretty much hasn't done a lot of defending lately either, as Morton's ready to take the free kick.
Damn good moustache he's grown himself too, Hugh Ludford. Give him a bit of credit there. Mortog curls it in pretty hard but too low. Well headed away there by Samet, taking the blow on his noggin for the team. The Rasmus gets it through. Gilly D'Souza across to Turner, but well defended there from Mark Ortman. I've got to give that kid credit today because his positioning at times has been marvellous. Upwards of 4 interceptions I've seen from him in crucial spots.
The Warriors certainly looking for a call there from the AR. None forthcoming. Lucas Hill very animated. A few nervous members of this defence at the moment. Corner comes in just over the head of Feral TV. Away by the Mountain again to great applause. Here's the king of the Andals, Joffrey Nkoso. Trying to wiggle his way around. Couldn't quite beat Havainen. Gorry sandwiched by a pair of Warriors here. And Nkoso couldn't get the better of Phillipson. Gorry tracks back inside. Gliding at Ladich, who blocked it. I think Gorry leaves a little bit ill there on Jacob Lehman. Just a bit of frustration coming out. I think they're sensing that this one is just about away from them now.
Yeah, they're really trying to build up to their usual crescendo finish here, South Hobart, but it's just not quite working on this occasion. McDonald will come out to take the free kick. He's got to be conscious he can't take too long. Already on a slice of cheese for delay of game. Heaves that one into the channel where the Bowman will find it. Ladich to Nkoso. Nkoso nearly finds Ladich again on the return ball. And Luke Farrell now to Gilly D'Souza, trying to get past Ortman. Ortman uses his body well and lays it back to Stevens. Stevens with the clearance as far as the Archer. Phillipson. Luke Farrell, Ludford finally back to centre back after a brief soiree up top. Van der May clears down the centre and Koso rises well. Now Bowman, a little bit more static here this game, and Lehman now picks it up. Only hit it right into the legs of Morton. South Hobart struggling to get it in their own half at the moment. Kieran Brown just sort of dawdling with it, which will certainly help Olympia Warriors in this instance.
5 minutes of added time go up here on the board, so time enough if they're good enough. South Hobart is a bit of Morton time being called here, I'm sure. DeSouza running here.
I thought 3 was a stretch.
Jack Ryan, who tracks back and puts it out of play. So South have got some time here if they can pull one back. But
Gilly D'Souza was in the first half, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, they're both the head knocks for the first half. Wootman works it to Scott. He's been impressive and he launches this one high. Phillipson should deal with it and just work it back to his keeper. He does so before Joffrey Nkoso can close down. Return ball to the Dane, who's now got to try and escape the clutches of Nkoso. Good pressure from him, and he's forced enough pressure on him to cause the turnover. Joel Samet drops it back to Hill. They look a bit open here at the back if they can work their way through here. Ladich swings it wide for Ryan. He might just head wide and try and draw a free kick. In the end, he just punts it forward, and it's going to be a throw-in for South, but pretty good field position as far as the Warriors are concerned.
I was a little bit worried about what was going to happen to the Rasmus then when he tried to go for his little jaunt upfield and the ball fell to Lucas Hill. Could have been really opposite circumstances the way those ones could have ended, because I certainly think one has more ability on the ball than the other.
Lucas Hill is pretty much playing without a right calf at the moment, judging by the amount he's hobbling on that. We're assuming it's just cramp up here.
Oh, I think so too. Gilly D'Souza now in a bit of space, takes it on from distance and slots it And maybe we've got 3 minutes here of drama to come. Gilly D'Souza with an absolute thumper.
Oh, there's a reason they call it Morton time here in the NPL. Tas 5 minutes of stoppage time. Gilly D'Souza, who's been just placed out on the wing most of this second half, hasn't cut in a lot, and then when he does, he goes whack and puts it in the bottom corner. And a nervy 3 minutes here for the Olympia Warriors faithful.
Oh, game on, Paul. I say game on. They are going to be nervous now, the Olympia Warriors. And I think there is a perfect villain on this field to just step up and insert themselves at the end of this game. A man who's been copping a little bit of heat from the Olympia crowd. And the adrenaline is going to be in the system of these South players, and it could be on. Morton heads it on now. He's got the ball. Takes it into the middle to DeGetto. Falls to Turner. Comes out wide to Havainen. But it falls away to John O'Ladich.
Yeah, someone of the from the Hogg family, I think, is who you might be referring to there, Jake Morgan, and we'll see what South can do in the last couple of months. A long throw in the Morthog direction. Back to Turner. He can certainly hit them if he wants to, but Joffrey and Koso tracks back well. Nearly sets through Ryan. Kieran Brown off his line. Hits it into the Warriors striker. It'll roll out for a throw-in, but pretty far away from their goal if they got 2 minutes left.
Yeah, coming into that last 120 seconds now. Kieran Brown.
If they choke this Olympia, they will never beat South Hobart. They cannot throw this one away. 12 times in a row they failed to get the result. This one completely in their keeping. Surely South couldn't steal it late. Here's a 4-way forward. Hill away to Vandermeer. A little bit of panic at the back, but they clear it as far as Ladich. There's a good man for the occasion, John Ladich. He's cool, he's composed,
you can
experienced.
Sense the nerves out there now, and you can sense the adrenaline, the pheromones just seeping off the South Hobart players. They are up and about to try and snatch a point here.
Mood of, I guess, confidence, arrogance, cockiness perhaps that was creeping in has just been replaced by just a real nervous anticipation. He might just take a yellow and waste all the time he can here, Vandermeer. Eventually thumps it long. Phillipson driving it down the guts. DeGetto gives chase. Keeper McDonald should collect, and he does. It's a raucous applause, does McDonald, and he'll lead up. He's full allocation here.
Oh, he's hurt, isn't he?
And that is professionally done, fellas.
Oh, he just could have been winded in that challenge, I think, a little bit there, boys. Yeah, he's copped one right in the diaphragm.
Oh, that comfortable cushion back to the ground there, really.
This is wily stuff. This is exactly what the situation called for as far as the Warriors are concerned.
Oh, I tell you what, if I'm the referee now, the second that ball is in his hands and he's done this, I'm looking at my watch and noting the time.
If I'm Ken Morton, I'm getting down there to the fourth official, really getting in Tony's ear, just giving the old point to the wrist.
Now McDonald will eventually get us restarted.
Look, I don't think he'll be so injured that he won't be able to smack it 3/4 of the way down the pitch. Let me put it that way.
I think his leg will be just fine. Indeed it is. He sends it in the right direction, and the full-time whistle is rung out here from Josh McInerney. Well, the 5 minutes was apparently a lie on the board. Olympia, well, they'll be glad to have survived the end. They do deserve the win. They were the better team tonight, and they claim a 2-1 victory there. We've just given them a bonus goal, I think, there, Ash, but it was the first goal from John O'Ladich.
Nah, you programmed that in because that was your prediction at the start of the game. You were that confident, weren't you, mate?
You've got me. I thought it had that set up, but not to be. I was counting on that final 30 seconds, unfortunately. It just never came. But look, deserving winners, I think, the Warriors in the season opener. It was a cracking affair. South Hobart, they just don't know when to die. They never quit. They fought to the end, nearly pulled something out. They certainly gave the Warriors a mighty fright. But at last, they have wrenched this monkey off of their backs, and the streak is over. Olympia defeats South Hobart, and there is a prime reason why. John O'Ladich with one of the best goals you will ever see to get things started. And it was a just reward for a great first half from the Warriors, I thought.
Marvellous. Players get paid $100,000 a week to score goals like that we saw from John O'Ladich, and it was just marvellous. And a good finish there from the new English import for the Olympia Warriors in his full competition debut, just sneaking one in underneath Kieran Brown, who played very well today, but just a little bit unfortunate there. And then Gilly D'Souza with an absolute thumper from distance to beat McDonald at his near post. Just gave South a little bit of hope at the end, and they had their tails up, but just ran out of time there.
Yeah, they probably deserved the victory in the end. It did the Olympia Warriors, pretty much based off their first half display. They were fantastic for the majority of that and deserved to go in 1-0 up. Really did leave South Hobart the glimmer of hope there, just not getting that third goal, and then also Kerry D'Souza's finish. McDonald probably didn't have a lot to do outside of the last 10 minutes as well, but a fully deserved victory for Olympia Warriors, and I think that'll put them in good stead for the upcoming season.
Absolutely, they're aiming for the title, and we've seen a side that has got the talent to do just that tonight. They looked as good as they have in a few years, the Warriors, and plenty of reason for optimism here this year, I think.
Look, it's a small sample size, boys, but I think on that performance, this is going to be a real fortress for them this year. The three players that they've got in midfield and the way that they controlled the game that day on a small ground like this, I just think they're going to have 3/4 of their home games just sewn up, I think. I think they're going to be an incredibly good team here tonight.
And that was the story of the opening night. The Warriors take the points, and they're going to sit on top of the table for at least a week with all the rest of the round one action called off for tomorrow. So I think we'll be back. I think Thursday night is our next one. Might be Kingra South Hobart, I think, the next game of the season. So we'll see you for that one. It's been a pleasure bringing you this game here this evening. John O'Laddick's the star, one of the best goals you will see to get things started. And the Warriors take a massive 3 points and make a statement to start the year.